Dr. Ravi Shankar is an industrial engineer and has a PhD in ergonomics from Bangalore University. He was serving as head of the department of industrial engineering, BMS College of Engineering, Bangalore. He also contributed as a placement officer in the same college, that is BMS College of Engineering. Currently, he is a professor in the Department of Industrial Engineering, BMS College of Engineering. Professor Ravi Shankar is a member, National Council, Indian Institution of Industrial Engineering, Navi Mumbai, and Chairman, Bangalore Chapter, Indian Institution of Industrial Engineering. Professor Ravi Shankar was also a lead ERP consultant to KSRTC, BHEL, and many other public sector and big companies. He has designed and developed ERP software by trade name Optimizer 10.6 for SMEs. He has also implemented and instrumental in implementing SAP solutions for Owens Corning, DACG, and Hughes Networks USA. He has also led Siebel testing efforts for Deloitte and Touch Consulting in Colorado, USA. Professor Ravi Shankar has been invited several times on software engineering projects to US and Japan. He has executed an ERP project for a Japanese government company in Tokyo. Professor has many research scholars pursuing PhD in ERP, supply chain, logistics management areas. And he has trained around 4,000 engineers in ERP domain. He has produced 5 doctorates till date. We are very privileged to have you with us, sir. Professor is going to talk on NEP, National Education Policy, and throw a light about the challenges and the advantages of this new education policy. Thank you, everyone. I now request Dr. Ravi Shankar to take over and address the August gathering. Dr. Ravi Shankar, you can take over and.
Yes, Sudhindra, thank you very much. So I can start the screen share now.
You can start, sir. Yeah, screen is visible, sir. You can continue.
Yeah, just a second. Good morning, everybody. Happy Engineers Day to all of you. Today being the Engineers Day, let us wish all the participants happy Engineers Day. And on this note, I would like to say thanks to Rajesh, who is my beloved student, and also thanks to Sudhindra for introducing me to the audience. I'll also wish to congratulate MSRAT for taking up this faculty development workshop on nurturing faculty or nurturing leaders, which is very, very important as of today. The current scenario requires or mandated that every faculty has to be on a very successful mode. So on this note, MSRAT and AICT has coined the right topic of nurturing leaders in the current scenario. My topic, my statement may not be aligning 100% of the topic, but the gist is the same. So we are all here to nurture you, to help you to become leaders. So that is the motive. And that is what is the foundation of my lecture today at MSRHE. So I hope my talk will be giving you the right direction for you to excel in your field and also become a true leader like MSRHE, ACT, and also Rajesh and Sudhindra. Over the many years, I've seen people working hard and also try to excel in their own field. The very important factor is you have to identify the right topic, right area to become expertise or to become a leader. So that becomes very important for you to feel happy that this domain or this activity is going to make me a leader. Today's topic of NEP is very, very, very challenging to all of us. The reason is the academics are now completely disturbed by the current scenario, maybe the pandemic. So you all understand that how important it is for us to be on the forefront and also understand the various development that is happening in and around us in the field of contemporary academics. When it comes to this contemporary academics, I always feel very happy to extend what we have learned to practically apply it on the field. Today, we'll have to remember our greatest engineer of Karnataka and India, Sir M. Vishwesvaraya. He has implemented all his thoughts which he has learned and which he has acquired from the textbooks and knowledge sources to literally practically on the field. So in fact, one of the profounding principles of NEP is that make your hands dirty and learn along the field, learn along the problems, learn along the issues. So before going to, excuse me, before going to the semantics of NEP 2020, I would like to state, I will state that we will learn something about our great country first and then we proceed. So you will have to be with me for the next 110 minutes and the agenda will be like this. I'll be covering about the topic. I'll just give you what I'm talking about for about 10 minutes. Let me discuss the NEP 2020 or the founding principles for about 40 minutes. I'll give you a small quiz based on my first ever lecture. And you will also have some prizes given by Rajesh. Then you will also learn something about the challenges and issues, which is I see it as the greatest opportunity given at the current scenario. I'll also talk something about the beautiful concept called T model, and let's see how the role of teachers changes from day to day from now on. And then you can ask me some questions, which hopefully I should be in a position to clear it. Okay, so this is my agenda for the next 110 minutes, and we will just start going by that then. Okay, so all of you know that India as a country is doing great. Thanks to our greatest leadership by Mr. Modi, who has given a true governance in all respects and in all divisions of the country. Okay, I know there will be so many hassles, so many problems, so many issues, but still as a country, he is successful in holding so many stakeholders together. Okay, so this is one of the key initiatives of the Narendra Modi government, which is implementing NEP across the country on education platform. Before entering to that, let's see. We have as a country we have been very, very, very successful, and we are now heading towards becoming greatest superpower of the world. My estimate is we are already in the top 3 or 4 of the world. Okay, so to support that statements, we have the most populous democracy in the world. Our democracy includes we are very diverse. We have various cultures. We have various states, we have various languages, we have various attitudes and various cultures amongst different parts of the country. You have north, you have south, you have northeast, you have central. Okay, in southern, each state is it's individual by itself. So this is what I call it as the most popular democracy of the world, the second most populous country. Our population itself is our strength now. Earlier days we were thinking that we have huge number of people around, but that itself is our strength now. We are the seventh largest country by area. We have greatest diversified culture, as I told you. We are multilingual and multi-ethnic society. And the most important concept all of us enjoy is that we are the fastest growing economy of the world. And we have a highly successful space program, and we have a highly successful nuclear policy. We have a very good nuclear policy. We are a nuclear power state. And in information technology areas, we are considered as being a doyen from the last 20 years. Post 2000, India has carved its niche name in the software area, and we are truly one of the best software producing country in the world. Okay, and the most important aspect is our national anthem gets maximum appreciation from the world corner. The challenging portion of this today's lecture would be, we have 65% population of youth. Out of that, 472 million children in India are under the age of 18. So it represents about 29% of its population. Since we have one third or nearing to one third ratio of the learning or yet to learn individuals, to become a superpower by 2030, India really focuses on its education policy. So hence the contest requires major rejig in education sector. So that's the reason why we are thinking of having a national education policy 2020. So this is why this is how we have come to designing the NEP. Coming to only talking about what NEP is all about, education focus in NEP 2020 focuses on education is fundamental for achieving full human potential. That means to say, in order to become good citizens, education is a must for everybody. So now Government of India is thinking that education is a service that has to be given by them free of cost to the largest possible to the largest extent. Okay. So it is aiming to make everybody learned, everybody literate in their own way. Okay, by 2030, it is actually, this attitude is based on a goal called SDG 4. It is called Sustainable Development Growth. The sentence says the Global Education Development Agenda is reflected in the Goal 4 of the Sustainable Development Growth Agenda for the 2030, okay, to ensure inclusive, equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So this is the founding principle. Such a lofty goal will require the entire education system to be reconfigured to support and foster learning so that all the critical targets and goals of the 2020 agenda for sustainable development can be achieved. I'm very happy about this fundamental principle, because see, once so many people across the country, they don't have access to great quality education system. See, the quality education system is limited to the urban countries. I hope many of you will agree with that. Okay, so now with this particular policy and agenda, education will go to the grassroots of our country. Okay, so the world is going or undergoing a rapid change in the knowledge landscape also, because the last 2 years you would have experienced and you would have practiced many things which you might have not done for the last 2 decades or 3 decades. When it comes to me, Um, we never imagined that we will sit in our houses and start taking classes. Okay, so at BMS College of Engineering, we never stopped lecture even for a single day, right from the first pandemic itself. Before the start of online programs, I had already invited a few students who can come with me for Google Meet or Zoom Meet, so that we can spend time for a while. So that's how we started online system, and now it has become such a reality wherein it is almost nearing to what we do in the offline mode. Okay, so this particular rapid change has made us to think in a different way, and it's indeed the quickly changing environment, employment landscape, and the global ecosystem also. And when it comes to employment, a beautiful term called work from home is now a reality with about 80% to 90% of the software engineers. And this work from home reality will be now for a very, very long time. So it is becoming increasingly critical that children not only learn, but more importantly, they learn how to learn. I repeat this sentence. It is becoming increasingly critical that children not only learn, but more importantly, they learn how to learn. So this is one of the new way of learning, and the new way is now being focused and directly designed by the NEP people. Okay, so why do you think that this NEP is required? This NEP is required because students are now just learning and mugging and writing exams. So after they do this, their curiosity level will come down to the lowest extent. So when it comes to the lowest extent, they'll not they most of them feel they are not productive and not innovative. So they start seeing in the different directions. For example, after 20 minutes of a particular class is getting started, they'll start seeing the window, they'll start opening up their mobile, they'll start doing something which deviates the focus of a teacher. So today holding teachers and holding somebody for more than 20 minutes is really a big challenge. And the challenge for the last 1 or 2 years is that we are unable to see each other, but we have to talk. So right now there are 106 participants. I am not sure how many of them are on video, how many of them are audio. So I think Rajesh told me that you are not permitted to sit on video. So hence I know that I cannot see you people, how you talk, I mean, how you listen to me. So diminishing curiosity is one of the major challenge for any academician. And surrounding that, there are national and international scenarios changing. The other than India, where there's no big focus and fuss on the memory-based education, they really don't expect a student to come and write an offline exam. Their exams can be like they give a specific project, they give a specific assignment. If they complete the assignment, and that is it. So that is how the international scenario is happening. And these in this environment, it is a competitions of the capable. You see, people will attend NEET, people will attend JEE, people will attend CET, KCET, etc., etc. Imagine the total number of hours of learning and the concentration they do. It is very challenging for them. Okay, so these are the scenarios that are making people at the administration level to think in a different direction. I should say it's out of the box situation or an innovative idea of doing something in a different way. And there are industry recessions which also puts a cap on the different type of capabilities and skill set of the individuals. So people are now expected to learn quickly and deliver quickly. So this is why NEP has started changing its wings or its strategy for the entire country. I know it is very difficult to do it, but still it's a positive start or a positive start towards a change for better for everybody. Okay, so this is why you require the national education policy. And the last change was done 30 years back. And during this 30 years, I think you all agree with me that it's an ocean of a difference between what is expected at the industry level and what we are teaching it to the students. Okay, so coming to the vision of this policy, the vision of the policy is to instill interest among the learners, a deep-rooted pride of being Indian. We all like our country, and this like is now becoming a mandation, or this like is now becoming an important issue or important feature of NEP. This policy will make us feel great about this country, not only in thought but also in spirit, intellect, and deeds, as well as to develop knowledge in the area of we choose. Okay, also the skills, values, and dispositions that support reasonable commitments to human rights. So this is what is expected from national education policy, and you will have sustainable development, living, and a global well-being, thereby reflecting a global true citizen. So the major vision, if I want to mention it in one full sentence, the vision of this policy is just to make a truly global citizen. Don't you think it is amazing? Because many of our youngsters, they would like to go for a foreign soil and then learn their degree and do some work and come back to our home country for doing good. Okay, so many of them, more than 30 to 35% of our people will acquire a foreign degree. Okay, so that foreign degree can happen here itself. So that is how people are thinking about that in the administration level. And thinking is basically done in 5 great pillars. One is called as pedagogy change, one is called as interdisciplinary approach, one is called as economic leaders development, and one is reforms at the education level, and then nurturing talent in the way that the student wants. Okay, it's like if you start thinking as an industrial engineer always tells the society thing that the customer is the king. Okay, so here most of you will agree to me that student is our what? Student is our customer. If I ask you a question, is he our customer or is he our product? Any of you can answer this question? Can
Product, sir. Students are our product.
Student is not a customer, sir, because
Okay.
they are equating like a industry product resource to product. Concept is not applicable for the student.
Okay.
The same POs and COs on a particular student. All
Okay.
students will come out with same POs and syllabus, and how
Okay.
extraordinary they'll show it. It's actually taking as a customer. It's a big mistake. They are doing it unknowingly. They are calling this NBA. People
Okay.
or NAC people. They are calling as a customer.
Okay.
Is not customer, is a god. Later they'll tell. Once you
Okay.
go to these concepts, there is no respect to the teacher. The Gurukula concept is the best option.
Yes.
Then
Yes.
you have to fill the concept in such a way, everywhere values should be added into the activity of the teaching. Value means
Correct.
whatever I teach, what is the outcome of that? The outcome is used, not the customer concept is used, sir.
Correct. Dr. Mohan, I appreciate your point on that. What happens is, if the student becomes our customer, industrial engineering principles also tells that the customer has to be treated like a king, is it not? So if we start treating our student as kings, you know what will happen to them. Okay, so hence how Mr. Mohan has told, we cannot treat them as customers. We should treat them as indirect customers, okay, only on certain conditions. All right. So instead of treating them as customers and spoiling them, we'll have to take them as our products, because if you teach them well and if they become our true disciples, a part of us will be going to them, and then they will spread the same concept to the society and their applicable areas, is it not? So if you want to make more strong products or more strong, if you want to develop great quality services, by our students. They has to be our products. We have to own them completely. So this is what we have to think in the direction of customer and products on students. I wish to say our system is our customer. We have to follow the system, and that system is what is the definition by the universities of our country. Okay, so this is the vision of NEP 2020, and I will quickly.
Sir, I want to ask something.
Yes,
My name is Arun Sawan. Sir, students are is also, we can say students are like a raw material. It is true.
Absolutely, I agree with you. When I take up orientation programs for engineering students, I call them as raw material. We are going to give them a polish which makes them diamonds.
So how we can say they are customers for us?
Yeah, they're good question. See how they can say they are our customers means we are talking to them, we are teaching to them, but they have to be satisfied. So in that direction, a small amount of customer focus will go to them. They give us feedback also, is it not?
Yeah. Okay,
so that's in that context and in that environment, we have to treat them as students. Customers. But we should not give them the complete 100% right of a customer. Otherwise, they will start coming and demanding us, saying that, sir, today don't want classes. I'm not interested. So that kind of feedback they will give, is it not?
Yes, sir, yes.
So in order to avoid these attitudes of the students, we have to be bit tight with them. Okay. So then we have to apply the product engineering principles, is it not?
Yes, it is correct.
Yeah. So
Thank you,
with that note, we will see how our new education policy changes our life as a teacher, is it not? So that is what
Yes,
what I'm going to focus on this current session. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, Arendra. Yes, Arendra. Okay. So this is the fundamental principles of NEP 2020. This is made up about 21 principles. Which gives a bit of freedom for the students to learn in their own way. Okay, say for example, number one is recognizing, identifying, and fostering the unique capability of each student. See, somebody is very good in writing in writing a language, so he or she will be encouraged to become a poet or something like that. Somebody who's very interested in becoming a sports person. Okay, now sports curriculum will be incorporated in the education system. Imagine how difficult it will be, is it not? Because many of our teachers I've seen they make very tight with attendance systems. Okay, now there's a concept where the students will be encouraged to be on the field for a long time, do studies alongly in a separate way. So this is one feature. And as a country, achieving foundational literacy and numeracy is our greatest focus. Okay, introduce flexibility in learning. Okay, and most important feature of NEP is no hard separations like arts, science, commerce, biology, medical, engineering, law. Okay, so slowly in one of the other way, they'll start percolating subjects in every domain. For example, in engineering curriculum design, now they have incorporated yoga, they have incorporated English, they've incorporated Kannada, they've incorporated law, they have incorporated interdisciplinary aspects. Last 10 years, I have seen many changes happening at engineering curricula. Silently, with all the peer colleagues, we'll be discussing where is engineering here. So this is the common question people are asking us.
Yes,
where is engineering
it
here? Where is medical here? Like that it will happen.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Yes, sir. It happened. Nowadays the curriculum is completely changed.
I know. See, because introducing yoga at engineering, I don't know, because we are not completely aligned to that. But still, yoga has already come to engineering. Okay, because many people are suffering stress at the work area, so yoga is important. So these kind of new dimensions and new approaches.
Professor, I have a doubt. Can I ask you?
Yes, Mohan sir, tell me.
See, now you are going a fundamental principles. See, as you said, now if I do a mechanical BA, if I go for computer MTech, and if I do some other branch, they won't give me job in a particular department. They will throw me off. In future, when the population of India, if you take up, and if you adopt this of course is very good for America or Japan, like that is because of the population number is concerned. They can become multidisciplinary. In India, even if you are master in one particular area, getting a job in that same area is becoming so difficult. In that sense, a engineering student will learn music, arts, all. No, I'm just looking at the future. Maybe this all big experts might have framed this NEP program, but I have a doubt. A person will do first year something, second year something, third year something, and what he will do? Ramaya College is there. They'll from Islamia College to Ramaya College, second year he will come, and actually the imbalances will happen. What the seat will do with that college? Actually, I don't know. I'm not understanding how exactly the future planning will be done, because the first year he'll go to a very low merit college. Then what he will do? First year he'll get the degree. First year, then second year he'll jump to Ramaya. He'll jump to BMS. What exactly I want to highlight is I don't know how they are planning this exactly in future for so big populated country like India. I don't know how they manage and what they will do with the present polytechnic, what they will do with present IITs. And they are all grown with very big structures, and what they'll do it. And BSc is being allowed in the engineering college, 60 selected. I'm not understanding. Can you give highlight about this,
Mohan
please?
sir, yeah, I heard your question, Mohan sir. It's a right question to be asked at this moment. But look at the opportunities. See, ultimately, NEP is now is shaking the foundation of all your walls. WALLs, walls. Okay, they're going to break the walls. Okay, imagine. Do you know a person called Anil Kumble? Do you know?
Yeah, he is my friend's
Yeah,
colleague only. Yeah, I know.
yeah. Javagal Srinath. They both are engineers. Okay, Anil Kumble did engineering in RVC.
Yeah,
And
they know because they are friends there.
Srinath did engineering in
Yeah.
JC
The
Mysore.
principal and teachers, how much they helped also, I know, because
This is
of their
exactly,
craziness in the
see, that
field.
is exactly is the opportunity now. If a student wants to become one ace personality, like a tennis player, Indian or like a swimmer, Indian academic system was not aligned to accept these things because of the walls constructed by the faculty like us. Is it not? So now with education being so flexible, everybody can attain their passion, you know, like one who wants to become a table tennis player can do so. Okay, so this is exactly what it's trying to do, but it's very early because it's just now kicked off. You'll have so many problems which I'm going to list one by one in the next session, because I myself have identified so many issues, and now we should treat only as an opportunity, because I still remember when VTU started introducing that what do you call that marking attendance or marking marks on the OMR sheet. Is it not? It was the first step of automating our mass card issues. Okay, so now it is completely now taken over by either Excel or some software like that. Now it has become very easy. Okay, so like this, many founding principles are there which are good, but it has got challenges. It has got issues. And this is where we have an opportunity to become a leader. We have an opportunity now to become a good an author for good academic system. Okay, so when people introduced autonomy, the same type of questions were asked. I remember I was the HOD of the department during 2008, the first year. The end of the first year, we declared our results. In that there was a concept called relative marking. Okay, so in that relative marking, student with X capability was compared to Y capability student. Right, so the pass percentage was not 35 or 40; it went on to 65 or 70. Okay, so there was a huge problem raised by various parents. My son has got 90% average. Joining your institution, he has now become 60%. What are you people doing? All sorts of scenarios we changed when we faced. And then we slowly started redefining the autonomy principle. And that was only in the initial stage. Now it is completely reject. We never have any issues with any parent or students, and the students are learning good and are also acquiring good placements. I had a stint with Indian corporates for a long time. From last 2.5 decades, I'm a ERP specialist, and last 6 years I spoke to at least about 2,500 companies as placement officer. So I know what industry is looking at academic now. So in that note, I will tell you a lot of points in this scenario to see how NEP works. Okay, so these are the 21 founding principle, and if you can see this light and tight regulatory framework. Okay, so it focuses on being firm, and also being flexible. They give some ground or some benefit to students so that they can become literates, and they also become a great Indian citizen. Okay, not only NEP focuses on building great Indian citizens, it also focuses on building and nurturing a global citizen. Okay, so I think about if I make a more bold statement on this forum, more than 10 to 15% of our working professionals are now working with MNCs. They are contributing their engineering talent to the greatest extent what we could have thought of 10 years before. Today, many people are directly a part of the global product life cycle. Okay, one example I'll give you. There's a company called Boeing. Boeing has got, I think, about 200 to 300 engineering seats in Bangalore itself. Out of those 200 to 300 seats, 7 to 8 are from BMS College of Engineering, and they are working on support for aircrafts like A380, Boeing and Dreamliner. All those things now they are working on the different systems of the aircraft. Like that, many people are working on defense projects. Like that, it'll be very challenging. When I take up a T model, I will tell you how industry looks engineers of this domain. Is that clear, Dr. Mohan? You raised a good point actually.
Okay, sir, please proceed. Thank you very much.
Yeah. You raised a good point. But see, that's what I think I wrote in the beginning, first slide. You see this? If you want to stay where you are, you should keep running. Okay, so that is the message what indirectly people are passing. All right. So I will not talk more about this fundamental principles, because it's all, I am talking only from the document called NEP 2020 PDF. I have not practiced NEP, but I have started learning what NEP, and I'm preparing myself to be a good teacher in this domain, because it comes as a mandation, definitely, for sure. Okay. So basically, I'll quickly run through what's this NEP structure. NEP structure is 4 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. It's called, see, earlier when we had 10 plus 2 structure, the age group of 3 to 6, we call it as kindergarten. No, that was not considered. Class 1 was beginning at age of 6. So with this new structure, even this kindergarten is also taken care. It is called 5 full years from the kindergarten to 3rd standard. Okay, the preparatory stage, or it's called as the foundation stage, called as early child care and education. That will be for almost 5 years. Next, from 3rd standard to 5th standard is the preparatory stage. 6th standard to 8th standard is the middle school stage. 9th standard to 12th standard will be the secondary, high school secondary stage. Okay, so the plan of NEP is to introduce internship at the level of middle school itself. So people will come to engineering with some real good experience. So that is what I'm expecting people to come to engineering. Okay. And the school education, no, the major target is to curtail school dropouts. This is not a reality in any urban city, but in a rural area, this is the most common. They drop out from schools. So major idea or major strategy is to see that school dropouts are curtailed and teachers are motivated and teachers are given more autonomy. That is what is the plan. And it's exactly what they envisages the earlier Gurukula system. The Gurukula system, Guru is the major, he is like a god. He, whatever he teaches or whatever he feels it is right, that will be done. In fact, NEP is more or less going towards that. Okay, and important aspect is teaching in local language. This becomes a challenge for all of us because now we are teaching in English. We may be asked to teach in Kannada also. Okay, so activities-based learning or play and learn concept is what we think of, and more from presentation mode to actual what do you call hands-on session mode. That's what has been envisaged. Okay, it is proposed to set up a national assessment center called PARAK, which is a performance assessment, review, and analysis of knowledge for holistic development. So that is what will be the viewpoint or takeaway from schooling. So higher education focuses on multidisciplinary universities and moving towards multidisciplinary undergraduate education, and multidisciplinary universities focuses on Indian languages, moving towards faculty and autonomy, okay, revamping pedagogy and reaffirming integrity of faculty. This is the most challenging one because people at the faculty level have got different modes of operations. So that will be streamlined, and institution leadership positions will be given through merit appointments and career progression based on teaching, research, and services. And establishment of NRF is called National Research Foundation to fund outstanding peer-reviewed research to actively seed research institute in universities and colleges, and governance of higher education institutions, and applying light but tight regulation by a single regulator for higher education, either on district or state or country level. Okay, increased access, quality, and inclusion through range of measures, including greater opportunities for outstanding public education. So these are the features of higher education, and use of technology and integration. They are going to make up a premier body like AICTE called National Education Technology Forum, which will focus on assessment, planning, administration, and so on for both school and high school education. This body promises evidence-based advice to central and state government agencies on technology-based inventions, build intellectual and institution capacities in educational technology, and designing strategic trust areas, and articulating new directions of research and innovation. New technologies include artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchains, smart boards, handheld computing devices, etc. and etc. So this is what the technology is going to happen in the coming few years. Okay, so biggest focus will be on online education and digital education. Government of India will make a huge digital infrastructure for educational purpose. Okay, they promote maximum on online teaching platforms and tools. They help people to develop content. Okay, develop digital repository and a dissemination of knowledge through ICT. Addressing the digital divide. Okay, we are going to virtually see virtually labs getting set up for assessment, training. Okay, then class execution. Okay, conducting tests, conducting laboratories, etc. So virtual labs will be a huge infrastructure under NEP 2020. Okay, there will be a lot of incentive schemes for teachers. These are only for leaders and achievers. You know, like teachers will be asked to develop content for a particular subject, write a textbook. There'll be great awards and rewards for teachers. There'll be sanctioning of grants. Okay, huge amount of money is going to flow in this area. And online assessments and examinations. Gone are those days where we conduct almost exam for a month and result for about 15 days. It will be now examination anytime, anywhere concept. They can sit at home. Okay, all the challenges are there. Students may copy, but still, this is what is going to happen. There will be infrastructures based on all these things. Okay, blended models of learning, offline mode, online mode, voice mode, video mode, okay, and calling mode. There will be so many varieties of learning which a student can opt, and these are all challenges for a good teacher. Okay, and implementing and laying and implementing effective standards. See, this is what we have just started now. It may take a lot of time, but over number of years, I'm sure, like how we have now produced a well-oiled procedure for education and systems. I'm sure in this mode also, people are going to attain success in all directions. This is what is called as the T model. Before I come to this, Rajesh, I think we have passed time. Should we take up the quiz?
No issues, sir. As you say, I
You
kept things ready.
I'll just pause for 5 minutes. You can go ahead.
Okay, sir. Sure, sure. No issues.
Yeah.
So as our speaker has informed that we'll be having a short quiz. So may I now request you to just look at the questions that will be beamed on the screen. One minute. I'll just share it. Yes. Okay. Before I start off, I just would like to give some inputs on the quiz that has been proposed. See here, that's what sir happened to tell me, saying that the person who is answering most of the questions deserves something from the organizers as the organizing member. So I promise that something rewarding certainly will be personally handed over, maybe if not as the chocolates or maybe something that can be couriered, at least some sort of an outstanding participant certificate or something like that, which can always be done from my end. And that can be individually posted to the best participant. Thereby, at least, I can always encourage and motivate those people to take up many such programs and involve themselves in lifelong learning. So I think that's the way in which I can always reward the participants coming out with the most number of answers. So may I now take the permission of the speaker and start posting the questions and expecting the answers in the form of chat box or chat response or so. And I think I'd be in a position to consolidate the scores you got and maybe come out with the best reward. So I think all are enabling their chat room or maybe chat window where they can always give me the responses or the replies. So is the screen visible to everybody, sir? Madam? The participants? Somebody please.
It is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay. So this is how it goes. So kindly just check out. So the question goes like this. I'll mute you people for a while. Yeah. So the question is posted. And I expect you to please post the answers in the chat box. So one with the sir. Okay.
Rajesh,
Yes, sir.
when they put the answer, no, they are giving answers to everybody.
Oh, you mean to say that that's not required? We should be.
They can just
Okay,
raise the hand
okay.
and then take it.
Okay, sir. What I will do is,
See the chat box. All are answering. I mean, answers are known to everybody.
okay, what I'll do is I'll just ask them to record the answers and
Just let them raise the question randomly. You ask the participant. to
okay,
answer.
raise the hands. Okay, fine. Sir.
Ah,
Okay, so that would be better way of answering, I guess, sir. Okay, dear participants, I think you got the clue from our speaker who just has made some suggestion to the way in which we need to answer. Okay, that can also be done, as Madam says, that we can answer privately. Anil Kumar Madidar. I think the participants can just check out. There is a pop-down window asking to whom we need to send the message. There you just go to select the host instead of selecting everyone in the meeting. So you just go to select the host, and it would be personally delivered to the host or maybe the co-host. I think you're getting it. So in the chat box, right below, you can find to whom it should be delivered. So just make it as private. Yeah, I think some participants are responding. Maybe I expect the same thing to be done by rest of the people as well. So very first question, I think we have taken a bit of time, and maybe following questions may not be really so difficult for us to complete the response. Okay, if the time given is sufficient enough, so then shall we proceed with the next question? Moving on to the next question. Okay, proceeding further to the third question. Proceeding further to the next question. Question number 4. Yeah, maybe I think I may not hold so long in the following questions because I know that we might be running out of time. So moving to the next question, question number 5. Okay, we are going to proceed to the next question. The next question goes like this. Next question. A new question. A new question. These were the 10 questions that I had to ask all the participants here. I've really got very good response from all the participants participating in this session of answering the questions. So may I now request the speaker to let me know, should I share the answers with the participants or should that be kept a suspense?
No, you can share. There is no problem.
Okay,
But,
sir. Thank you. Yes.
Let's do it quickly because we have already.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I got it, sir. I got the cue. So now being very crisp in my response to the answers. So it goes like this. It's 1C, 2A, 3C, 4A, 5C, 6C, 7A and B, 8A, 9C, 10D. So these are the replies that we were expecting you to give. So hopefully, I think you should have done it correctly. So we're going to assess again, probably after this session or so, and suitably reward the topper. Thank you from my side, sir.
Yeah, Rajesh, thank you.
Devlin madam has told the questions and answers to be together. Maybe I think that will be done at a later stage as our speaker is running out of time. So we can get back to this, madam.
Yeah, I have more slides to cover. I think.
Got it, sir. Got it, sir. Sir, it's yours now, sir. You can always
Yeah.
take yours, sir.
Yes, participants, are you back? Okay, I'm happy to see the response of all of you. You all participated very well, and Rajesh will tell you the results of it. I hope you had a good this session. All right. So basically, just a minute. Okay, I had stopped here. No, not this. Yes, I had stopped here. Okay, and there was one question also on this. I hope you can recollect what you did. See, basically, when companies hire people, this is what I found, what they look at. See, some people, they would like to hire people with technology. Some people would like to have an overall talent, overall skills. Okay, so when it comes to overall skills, no, they see two dimensions. This dimensions of called as breadth of knowledge, which is horizontal, and which is called as depth of knowledge, which is vertical. That is the reason they call it as a T model. See, when it comes to breadth of knowledge, no, they should have more skills, kind of communication, kind of mathematics, kind of analytical, kind of development tools like Java, C, C++. Okay, or if you think of electronics engineer, some designing stuff. Okay, some IC circuits. Okay, some micro level welding, things like that, and quality things like that. So in general, I call it a skill 1, skill 2, skill 3, and skill 4. Okay, and when it comes to depth, it is called domain knowledge, techniques, methods, okay, and problem solving, focus on growth, etc., etc. So an ordinary engineer should have a combination of all these things, not very specific, that is those kind of jobs for a research job, they will see very specific. For a generic job, see, now generic job means people will slowly now move towards a thing called solution engineering. Where engineers are supposed to provide a solution for a problem, whether it is mechanical or whether it is electronics or whether it is art based or whether it is legal based or whether it is infrastructure based, they don't care. They'll put you in a team where it is supposed to develop solutions for problems. You are supposed to work as a multidisciplinary engineer. Okay, work like a design engineer, circuit engineer, quality engineer, tester, developer, designer. Okay, they are looking like that. Okay, and you see many of our engineering graduates will get acquired companies like TCS, Accenture, Cognizant. Okay, then which else I have? They all get into different teams. So basically, they learn coding, they learn testing, they learn development, they learn sensors. So they will learn IoT. All these things are there. So engineers are now handled by keeping this concept in mind. Okay, so that's the reason any engineer can work in any project. That's the scenario in industry now. Okay, so it has now today it has literally become computer science versus all branches of engineering. Okay, so this is a big challenge, and I'm very happy to mention that NEP is in this direction. Okay, I'll tell you what are the challenges. When an engineering student come to VMS or any engineering college, he can opt for his own interest. Like I would learn electronic design, then I will learn mechanical design, then the combination called mechatronics they do, and then they learn software languages like Java, C, C++, MATLAB, etc. Okay, and then they might learn quality in some semester. This becomes a major challenge for engineering college teachers, faculty members, deans, okay, university, okay, board of studies, board of examinations. All of these are challenges to NEP. Do you agree with me? Because industry wants people who can develop a good product. For example, now they are building a car. The car now is called as an intelligent car. It will tell you when it has to be maintained, when it has to be serviced, when it has to be filled, all on sensors based only. So these kind of things are now happening. That is an opportunity for all of us. Okay, so this is the T model. What we are going to do. I'll quickly go through the challenges what one can make during this NEP implementation. Challenge with respect to infrastructure. You will have a challenge with urban students and rural students. See, urban students infrastructure is not a problem because land is very cheap. Sorry, rural students. Urban students, you have facility and infrastructure issue because of land cost. Okay, then challenge with urban and rural parents. Parents cannot afford the fees of urban. Parents cannot afford the not so good facilities of teaching and training in rural. So this becomes a problem. Totally called it as challenges of infrastructure. Okay, challenge of students' willingness to attend school. Very dominant in rural, very less in urban. Both combined together, challenges are there. Okay, challenge of faculty and teacher. Faculty teachers in urban may not have that difficulty in adopting and switching and learning and delivering, but in rural it may have a challenge. So there more number of training sessions has to be deployed. Challenge of experience versus new teachers. New teachers may demonstrate more interest and keen of learning new things. Experienced people might not show that zeal to learn new things. So this is again a challenge with respect to infrastructure. Education challenges, assessing factors of dropout, because in different zones, different areas, different factors will work for dropout of students. For example, as you all observed during the pandemic time, though there was less number of cases, students were not allowed to go to the class for learning because they were deployed for earning money for feeding themselves. So this is one of the great factor. Like that, many composite factors will be there. That assessment itself will take a lot of time, and designing a solution might still take a lot of time. And the motivation of to teachers may just be a challenge, because somebody gets motivated by leaves, somebody gets motivated by grants, somebody will get motivated by funds, etc. So this has to be handled on a case by case and a day by day basis. And teaching in local language, I am not sure what side of complex challenges it will pose, but still it has got issues. It's like writing a textbook in Kannada. I think only the Russians in the world has done that. Other than that, I have not seen many. Even Germans, I think, have done that. But Indian language, it's a great opportunity for growth for all the teachers. You can start scribing textbooks in native languages. Okay, and standardization of play and learn is a huge challenge. And standardization of activity-based learning is also a huge challenge. The centricity is totally based on the faculty here. The faculty can design his or her own way of implementing these small play and learn kind of activities. Okay, and changing exam mode is very challenging, because large number of students who perform very well, they start being closed to being very close in the results. This will pose its own challenges. Okay, and all these things, industry to recognize Parak may take certain amount of time. So this is the direction in which the faculty and the universities and the regulatory bodies should be in a position to nurture from now on. Okay, so next you have got higher education features and challenges. Multidisciplinary universities and colleges establishment, it has got its own challenges. See, there is especially with government, there is a huge challenge of seeking funds, because I was a VTU LIC committee member for certain colleges. We had visited certain colleges. Other than the building, nothing is there. No equipments are available. Okay, no, only staffs are available, no equipments are available. That was few years back when I went. Last 4 years, I did not go to any VTU LIC committee. But government engineering colleges, I think there are about not less than 15, I guess. They are in Karnataka. They are having huge challenges. Okay, so establishing multidisciplinary universities and multi languages courses, it requires a huge amount of grants, and those kind of programs may face less number of takers. This is also a great challenge to higher education, and moving towards a multidisciplinary undergraduate program. it attracts administration and academic challenges, how we should evaluate or how we should weigh the content of a particular course. This dean office will have a huge challenge in doing it. Okay, and faculty motivation and institutional autonomy. Industry is still not, I think they may halfway through, because in our institution where autonomy is being handled and practiced over last 12 years, we never had any issue with industries. Here and there, a few industries have given us feedback for what they expect from an electrical, mechanical, and civil, and all those things. We have given the input directly to Board of Studies, and the Board of Studies and Academic Council are very happy to incorporate those changes if it is viable for them. Okay, and revamping curriculum, pedagogy, assessment, and student support. Challenge from both students and parents will be very, very high. Nowadays, parents' participation in academics is very high. So you'll also have a lot of inputs from parents. So this is again a challenge for all teachers. Assessing, monitoring, integrity of faculty, it's very, very, very tough, because this entire program is focused only upon committed teachers. The committed teachers should own the policy and then take it ahead. Otherwise, it will be very, very difficult. Okay, and establishment of National Research Forum. It may face challenges like ACT, DST, and UGC, which are already pioneers in supporting staff research or faculty research. They may not be that very open to disengage with these academicians. So maintaining, monitoring, defining all these aspects will definitely be a lot of, it's a challenging assignment by itself. And defining governance and maintaining and monitoring these highly qualified independent bodies will have its own challenges. And one of the regulations says NEP is light and tight, but who's going to monitor this? Who's going to build the cat? Who's going to define it? Who's going to monitor it? Who's going to clean it? Who's going to evaluate it? So all these things, it will be evolved or solved from a time to time basis. I think only government of Karnataka and few other states have implemented any NEP already in total. I think in 2 or 3 years time, it will come to one level. Maybe they can add something, they can remove something, they can fine tune it, and after 3rd or 4th year, it will definitely see a lot of successes. And before talking to the next, I would like to tell some points upon the advantages and disadvantages of NEP. See, advantages, you have more advantages than less advantages. I will not go one by one. I will just tell you the most important one. See, the most best advantages, you will have multidisciplinary approach. Okay, and with a NAAC accreditation on NEP policy, institution can set up schools and colleges on foreign soil without taking any approval. This is the best advantage for achievers and successors. You know, my vision on this particular topic is top 100 universities or colleges of India can establish directly foreign soil colleges. Like somewhere I observed JCE did this in Mauritius. So you have JSS College of Engineering in Mauritius. A few decades back only they have done. So now with these kind of things, you will directly have a lot of benefit of doing so. And so Parak will be established, and there will be special Bal Bhavans established in various districts, and multidisciplinary education research universities will be placed at par with IITs and IIMs. And by 2030, it will be mandatory to have at least a 4-year BEd degree and joining occupation for occupation of teaching. Okay. So these are major advantages. The disadvantages, disadvantage lies around a problematic teacher. So more problems from the teacher side, more issues you will have. National education policies, the basic degree will now be for 4 years. It's not 3 years, it's 4 years. So that is one which may have more got major drawbacks. Okay. So another point is the institutions who are not practicing English will be forced to do English at a higher education level. So these are few minor disadvantages, but majority of them you have got large advantages of doing it. So this is issues with technology interfaces. A national body of National Education Technology Forum will be established. They will advise governments and state governments and the universities on technology-based interventions. They will follow more domains like artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain. So there's very less input of in the material to who will manage these practice centers. So these are one because see it all surrounds about establishing architectures on an IT highway. So defining and managing this will become a big challenge. Okay, and on online and digital education challenges, you will actually when they run pilot studies, who's going to conduct, university or NETF is still not defined. And digital infrastructure, is this will be outsourced or in-house? Still, it is not thought of. And online teaching platforms and tools. Again, the question comes: who will monitor? And content creation, digital repository and dissemination. Again, yeah, I think 90% it has to be this outsourced activity. Otherwise, it will be becoming it will get tough. Okay, and the job of a teacher also will address this digital divide, because many of them are digital literate. Most of them are not digital literate. So that this one. When it comes to the challenges of virtual labs, who's going to own this? Whether it's a PPP or the private public participation, or it's completely 100% government, or it will be 100% from the college, we don't know. Okay, so online assessment and examinations, the issues surrounding criteria and governance has to be defined. And next, blended mode of learning, when to have blended, when not to have blended, when to have offline, when to have online, still is not complete. So this is one of the challenges. And this is the fundamental thing which everyone should know about it. For me, teacher's role is more work, more role, more work and more role for everybody, because you are the one who are going to own it, and more work and work is always there for you. More commitment is expected from the teachers, and more motivation has to be demonstrated by you people. And you have to completely own and control the ownership of your subject. And then you will be mandatorily asked to prepare for bilingual classes. And use of ICT is now mandated, and definitely it will leave you with more administration work. So ultimately, if I have one point to say for all faculty, it should be like best way to do is learn as though it's your first day, and work as though it's your last day. So if you have this kind of a principle, I think you can do very, very well. So these are the few things what I have thought of before making up this presentation. I think now I can conclude this presentation, leaving QA session. If you have any questions to ask, let's discuss around MEP 2020.
Yeah, dear participants, the mic is enabled. So any questions, I think directly you can post it to or maybe you can talk to our speaker and get all your doubts clarified.
All right, dear participants, I have enjoyed talking about NEP 2020. And if you have any points to discuss, you can write me at or just call me. Rajesh has my number. I can take my number and then they can call me. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Rajesh, can we wind up?
Yes, sir. Before
Excuse
which,
me,
yeah,
sir.
yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
madam.
So,
Please tell me, madam.
yeah, I just want to ask a very general question. How
Yeah,
can we
yeah, Ashwin.
prepare ourselves for this coming NEP program policy, like education policy?
Okay.
Like
Madam, what
in
has
the
happened now is, yeah, go ahead, Neha.
Sir, how can we prepare ourselves for this national education policy, like at means graduate or postgraduate level, not means at very elementary education, I'm asking.
See, one challenge what I directly see is, you're from which college, Neha?
I am from Northeastern Hill University, Shillong. I'm teaching there in biotechnology, microbiology.
Think about preparing bilingual course material.
Sir, but I was listening, but how, Miss, actually I know only Hindi and English, not any other language.
No, that is what I'm not sure whether whether the government may ask you to do it in national languages, or they may ask you to do in local languages. For example, if the same question appears to Karnataka per se,
Yeah,
they will ask us to develop in Kannada.
regional language also.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Or,
So that's
one of the strategy may they tell English or national language Hindi, or English or state language Kannada.
okay.
If it is in Andhra, it will be either English or Hindi, or English or Telugu.
Yeah. Okay. That
And,
means that seems very difficult actually,
I know.
because we have no idea about the regional language. I mean, especially I am from UP side.
Okay.
So that's why I was wondering ki it's very difficult for means teachers who know only English and Hindi.
No, what you can do is 2 or 3 teachers can combine together,
Yes.
okay, and then develop it. For example, in your case, no, you're from UP and you're sitting in Northeast. Okay,
Yeah.
make a group of 3 or 4 faculties. Okay,
Yes.
somebody see, parallelly you can develop 2 or 3 textbooks in 2 or 3 languages.
Yes.
Yeah, because I
even
actually made one small try last 2 years because of holidays. I have now developed a textbook for fundamentals of programming techniques. So English content is ready. Kannada I'm not done, but the priority sometimes keeps on changing. No, like so that is the reason it is in semi-finished mode.
yeah, sir. But like means even speaking is something else, and writing this part is different, no? Means
It's a lot. It takes a lot of time. At least 6 months is required.
Yes, because I am also actually based in Bangalore now. So
Okay.
now the problem comes yet how to understand the language reading part, not
Correct.
speaking.
Yeah.
Speaking,
See,
so I understand now.
Correct. One more clue what I'll give you is you will have your class notes, right?
Yes.
You will have your class notes with you, no?
Yeah. Yes.
Work around with that. You take you for one class or two class, you go on freezing the content, and then the volume gets collected. That's how you should do.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, Neha. Thank you.
Any more questions? Hopefully all the doubts are clarified to the participants here.
Can I ask you all one question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Dear participants, can you tell me how you will become an academic leader with respect to NEP 2020? Hello? I think Rajesh, we can wind up.
Yes, sir. So with this, I think we have formally come to the end of this session. So I wholeheartedly thank Dr. B. Ravishankar, sir, for accepting our invitation and being a part of this faculty development program. And giving a very inspiring and a thoughtful topic on a topic called challenges of NEP, which definitely is to be adopted by all of us, maybe in the near future. So I think it's really well addressed and being received by all the participants. I think all the doubts that we had in the newer arena that we need to work in is all being discussed, and it's been showcased, and proper understanding is given to it. So with this, I think we need to conclude the session. I once again thank you, sir, for coming and making a wonderful presentation on challenges of NEP. Thank you again, sir.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank
Yes, sir.
you.
My pleasure, sir.